Hello folks, this is Mario Perez and welcome to the show today. Some reason my page said this wasn't the right setting, so I hope it's working. Let's see. It's hard to say without turning it off. Anyway, the reason these people are up here, because this is what it's about. Today, Larry Flynt, all of you know him as the Hustler, owner, magazine, guy who basically has sold women and underage girls and boys and anything alike. He sold bestiality, women with animals and such. He's entertained people as Clintons, Obamas, you name it. Every big Hollywood star that's perverted has been there. We got Hillary and Weinstein, best friend. Look at me, look at the glee in her eyes. She just loves that man. She didn't care that he raped women and children and underage women. She didn't care then. She only cared that Trump took and did some locker room talk, claiming that he groped some woman. So let's see. It is not working. Oh well. Guess I'll have to skip my caller. I had a caller calling in from Black Lives Matter, and it doesn't look like he's gonna make it. So with that, let's see. Today my phones have been messed up on Skype and stuff ever since I did my my videos with the Las Vegas Massacre stuff. Cause I have some friends that work there and they sent me some stuff, and then YouTube took and deleted my, well, they suspended my account for 90 days. So that's why I'm on this one right here that doesn't have anybody. But I also do Ustream and a shortwave radio around my area. I reach about close to 200 miles at night. So I'd like to be able to fix this because I need him to call. Or I'd like him to call because he was going to talk about basically what civil rights has done to his community. It's basically ruined it. So with that, no, that's not working. Okay. Well, hopefully it's all working. I don't know. Let me turn this up. Okay, so that works. Alright, sorry, I had to do like 3 screens here to get it working, but anyway. Let's start with these. Let's start with Larry Flynt. Larry Flynt today just offered $10 million to whoever can help bring Trump down and get him out of the White House. Now, you know, when somebody gives $10 million bounty on somebody's head, they're going to go further than just trying to bring him down by small talk and accusations. I mean, if there was a way to bring Trump down, they would have done that a long time ago. Obviously, Trump hasn't really done anything bad enough to be brought down. But I bet you every politician we have in office today has done far worse, and they could be brought, or they should have been brought down. I guarantee you that there's probably not one there that has not done a felony, or that would be a felony under the laws today that we regular people are held to. Okay, so we got Larry Flynt today offering, and why do you think he would do that? You think he's because it's against illegals? I don't think he cares, because Obama was deporting illegals like crazy up until he started bringing them back in, because he found out whenever he started deporting all these illegals, because when Obama first came in office, that dude was the deport king. I was actually thinking, I like this guy, except for he destroyed our economy and everything else along the way. But at first he was deporting illegals like mad, and then he found that, you know what, since he's been in office, when 2012 came along, he's been in office, they've lost over 1,000 Democratic seats. So he's like, we got to bring those illegals back, because those are our voters, and that's why they're fighting to keep them there and bring them back. But now they're finding out that illegals really won't for them anymore anyway, because they kind of figured it out that the Democrats are all talk. So, because most people, most regular people, the liberal Americans, and even majority of probably Republicans, don't realize that they already passed that $10 billion funding for the wall. That's why it's not being talked about anymore. It's already passed. It's already gone through. Trump has already been given $1.6 billion to start on it, and that's why they're doing these prototypes for people to make which kind of wall they want to put up to see what's better. And now they're probably going to go with the solar panel, the walls that have a bunch of solar panels on them, which you don't want to touch during the sun, especially because they're scorching hot. But the thing is, they're going to pay for itself. So Trump may not even have to dig much more into that $10 billion, as long as he has these companies paying for it, because they're going to be selling this electricity back to Mexico, because Mexico already buys off of our grid anyway. So in a way, Mexico will be paying for this wall, because they're going to be buying the electricity that these solar panels that stretch a few thousand miles across the country that are going to provide them the electricity they need. And it's also going to ease the grid on our side, which also should help and bring down our electricity bill. It should. Probably won't, because everything always goes up. It very seldom goes back down. So anyway, that bill was already passed. They didn't want to say anything. They didn't want to cover it. The media didn't cover it. Nobody covered it, and they didn't want to tell anybody, especially Pelosi and Schumer and them, because they just sold out their base. And this is why the illegals are attacking Nancy Pelosi and Schumer and them, telling them people to step down, because they know what they did. They found out, and this is why they went and crashed the DACA party that Nancy Pelosi was at, where she was getting ready to let the DACAs tell their victory story of how great they're doing. And they're not children anymore. They haven't been children for a long time. These DACA kids are adults raising families and providing house, home, food, and everything else for their family members that are still illegal and not DACAs and just illegal, for their parents and everything. And they're doing it off of our dime. They're doing it off of tax-paying money, because they get subsidized housing that they pay very little for, if any at all, depending on what they make. And they're provided, basically, they're like provided jobs. The government will pay companies to hire DACAs. They'll pay their hourly wage. So if they hire a DACA, say at $15 an hour, the company doesn't have to pay for anything the first 2 years of training. And then if they keep the DACA worker, then they basically pay a certain part of the DACA's wage to keep them. They don't want them being laid off. So these DACA people are basically guaranteed work, guaranteed a job, an easy job, a nice home, free food because they get their food stamp card. They get funding because they get paid to, as long as they stay in any kind of school. They still get free funding. They get cash assistance and get their electric paid. And I know this because I work with a lot of realty companies. I'm a contractor. I do electrical, plumbing, and air conditioning. And I work with these realty companies. I worked with them for a very long time. and I always am having to service the homes that they live in. Because let me tell you, when we go to service a DACA house, that's a Section 8 house, we call them, these people don't pay for anything. They could totally destroy this house, and most of them do. They can totally destroy it, and they don't have to pay for anything. Now, if I go to a regular person, middle class, paying white or Mexican American, don't matter, black, if they're American citizen and they're paying their rent through their hard work, and if they damage the house in any way, even if they clog up a toilet or something, they're paying. They have to pay. Now, DACAs and the illegals pay nothing. Section 8 people pay not a penny. And they could totally burn the house down and they'll be put into another house. That's how it goes. And what's really sucks, in Arizona it gets pretty hot. And if an air conditioning unit, if the Section 8 people complain about the AC is not cooling enough, they will make us put a new AC unit on that house. Which was good for me. I make a lot of money doing it, so I'm not going to complain. But what I do complain about is when we go to the people who are paying bills and they got these freaking 30-year-old AC units that are running their bills out the roof, and they're paying $500 a month because they have to run these overbearing electricity hog AC units, man. I mean, they're sucking all the energy out but not cooling the house. They're not getting anything. They don't get the new AC units. They don't get anything unless the AC unit is totally shot. So yeah, sometimes I just have to tell the realtor, look, when it's that old and that bad, even though it's working, I tell them it's not going to work. They need a new unit. So I have to step in for the people who do work hard and pay their bill and help them get another unit to ease up on their bills. This is how this stuff works. But anyway, all that stuff's been passed. The wall's getting ready to be built. You think Larry Flynt is wanting any part of that? I mean, do you think he cares? No. You think it's about the taxes, maybe? Maybe he's upset because the taxes are going to be, oh yeah. Basically, they're saying the same. They're not really going to change very much for them guys, for the rich guys. They're still going to pay what they're paying. And the only thing it does change for, it basically helps the middle class. It gives us tax breaks. I mean, finally, this president is taking care of the working middle class, the engine of this country. We are the engine that runs this country. I mean, you got the rich people, they pay for a lot of stuff, but everything trickles down. Then you got the people who actually do the work, and that's the middle class. Then you got the people who do nothing except for sponge off of the two upper classes, and three actually upper. You got middle class, upper middle class, then you got the rich. And then you got poor, poverty. Actually, it's hard to say because you can't call them poverty, because you know what? If you're living in some place, say like Ethiopia, and you're drinking toilet water off the ground and eating bugs and whatever the case, well, even our poorest person in the United States is rich to those people. So when you want to like look at people like they're rich and snooty or whatever, snotty, I mean, you really, so are you according to those other people who have less than you do. I mean, so it really depends on how you look at it. But alright, so let's go back to Larry Flynt. Now, let's figure out why Larry Flynt just wants to put a $10 million bounty on Trump's head. I'm sure most of you have figured it out, at least by now. Unless you're liberal, then you probably haven't really figured out much. But fact is, they fear Larry Flynt is on this list. Now, last week, and it hasn't been publicized like it should be, but last week, maybe the week before, Donald Trump talked to the high-profile prisons who keep the people that are high-profile and that expect a lot of media attention and such. He'd let them know that there's going to be 23 high-profile people getting ready to join their prison, and they need to prepare. He said there are going to be celebrity and politicians. They're going to be a mix. So, with saying that, we had Anthony Weiner, right? And his laptop pretty much gave way to a lot of people. Pretty much turned in probably the whole lot of them. So Anthony Weiner's going away for like 24 months. Thing is he actually going away, or is he actually being protected as he go? I mean, I think he cut a deal, because really we didn't even really hear any of his court case, really, huh? I mean, everything went so quiet and quick, and one minute he's actually nothing's happening, and then the next day it's okay, they just gave him like 18 months or something like that. So I'm thinking he cut his deal because nobody was standing up for him. So I think he turned in Hillary and the rest, and he's willing to probably testify. And with the laptop, he really has to, because it's kind of hard to deny when he has all the proof right there on his laptop that he had against all the elites in case anything happened to him. Well, something did happen, and they didn't stand up for him, or possibly they could not stand up for him because Hillary did not win. Hillary lost the election, and they did not expect that. And what did Hillary say before she was where she is now, which is a loser? She said, if Donald Trump wins, we are all going to hang from nooses. Now, why would she say that unless she had a lot to hide? And she obviously had a lot to hide. So you have the laptop, you have Weiner now showing his wiener inside of a cell to cellmates, whatever he's doing. But I'm pretty sure it's not a kind of a jail that we would go to. It's a luxury jail. But I also think that he's being protected in this place more than he is going to spend time. I think he's there until this stuff clears, until Trump arrests all these pedophiles, because Trump has a task force most people don't know and have not heard about. But it's basically, it was pushed and helped set up by Ivanka Trump. Ivanka's the one that pushed her dad into making sure this got done, because she knew all about this underground pedophilia, Pizzagate kind of ring. So anyhow, he's already arrested hundreds, close to probably 1,000, maybe more, maybe a little less, but he's arrested a ton of these pedophilia rings and human traffickers of young women, boys, girls, you name it. Tell you, got a cat that's running around. It's a little kitten. Anyhow, can't catch it, it's too quick. Anyhow, she has this ring, or there's this ring that was going around, and a lot of this was on Anthony Weiner's laptop, and it led him to arresting all these people. So arresting all these people, you also got to expect that they're going to turn around and they're going to talk also. They're going to say who their bosses are, who they pay, who they get their pay from, because everyone's going to be wanting to cut a deal. So this is why Larry Flynt is scared. He thinks he's on one of those, the list of 23 that's going to be headed to those prison. He does not want to spend the rest of his life in prison. And I put Hefner up here because Hefner may not be dead just yet. I know he's 91 years old, but we can't expect that he's dead yet, because he also probably became an informant, because he sold his mansion for one thing. And why are you going to sell your mansion if you're that old? You can't take anything with you. Basically, you leave it to your bunnies and let them deal with it. It's not like he had a bunch of family and anything. All of his family were a bunch of tramps, bunch of gold digging bunnies. And the thing is, but he sold it. Or maybe he had everything confiscated and he was allowed to live there until he died, and the government took it. He was in poor health. He knew he was dying. Maybe that Trump said, hey, I'm going to give you until you die. You know, since he only had a few months to live, and as soon as he died, now it's on. Now they're going after everybody. And they're going to take his things and they're going to sell them, and all that money that they get out of it basically is going to go to paying all these task force that are going after the peddle rings and the human trafficking rings and people like Hillary, because he's found out that basically the Hillary's foundation is basically a trafficking foundation. I mean, that foundation is used for a lot of things, but most of her money comes from trafficking. So, anyhow, this is, I mean, he could really be dead now, okay, but there's also another scenario, like, he could still be alive. Trump may have said, hey, I'm not waiting anymore, we're going to fake your death, you can go live your life out on an island, take, you know, a lot of your money that's going to last you the rest of your life, and go live out there. But it's time they start taking and liquidating his things and moving on and starting arresting these people. I think because they keep attacking him so much, he's probably feeling the need that, like, hey, he's probably thinking, I'm not sure if these people are going to kill me soon or something's going to happen, but I need to go after these people now because things are getting worse. I mean, these liberals get worse every day with attacking him about things that are senseless. So, guess whose name was also on the list? Yes, Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein's on the list. And now all of Hollywood has turned against Harvey. And guess why? Because he cut a deal. Exactly. He cut a deal. They know he cut a deal. He may not be saying it out right to them, but even his own brother is calling him a slime and everything else. And before, they loved him. 3 decades. I mean, his brother grew up with him knowing he was a slime. For 3 decades, everybody else loved him. Call him God, called him everything. I mean, they crawled under the desk when they wanted him to. I mean, they did whatever this guy asked them to do. They did it for him. And now all of a sudden they're turning against him. It's because he cut a deal, folks. He cut a deal with the CIA, and he's going to turn in like people like Hillary. And this is probably what upset them the most, is because Hillary has a lot of fans out there, and he's going to go against Hillary now because that's the biggest fish. Hillary is the biggest tuna that people want to bring down. Even her husband is going to divorce her because of the book she wrote. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But right now, Weinstein is going to have to either hide or get locked up. I mean, so far he has not admitted that he cut a deal, but they're all pretty much feel that he did, because they know that he's been talking to the feds, and they know that he probably should have been arrested because a girl was wiretapped and they sent her in and they got the information on him and everything. And then they didn't do nothing even after they found out, even after he admitted that he grabs girls' breasts and all this other stuff. And then all these other people are coming out claiming that Weinstein raped them and stuff. And they're not doing anything to him. So Hollywood people are stupid, but they're not that stupid. They know that, hey, he should be in jail by now. He should be in jail. We should be at least bailing him out. But nothing's happening to him yet. He obviously cut a deal with the feds. And he's going to go ahead and testify against Hillary, Bill, and the rest of them. So, again, this is why Larry Flynt pops up. And now he's putting the target on Trump's head, because he's got to bring Trump down, or he may end up spending the rest of his life in prison. He's definitely going to lose everything that he's got, just like Hefner just did before he died. Hefner got lucky and died before they took it. Larry Flynt's not going to be that lucky. They're either going to take all of his stuff before, or who knows, he may commit suicide himself before it's over. Or somebody may kill Larry Flynt, because this trafficking stuff goes very wide, very big. I mean, it's a wide range of people in Hollywood and in the politics. I mean, you got Bill Clinton. I mean, geez. Bill Clinton and others. Bill Clinton is pretty much a choir boy compared to Larry Flynt and Hefner. Larry Flynt and Hefner were huge, where they were very big in, along with drugs, but mostly they trafficked women and children for basically prostitution and to feed the elite. And I know this because I know people who used to have contact with them. And like Jerry Falwell, a preacher. Now, I'm a Christian, and I would never turn against another Christian that's good. But my friend, she, and it's a she, but her mom lives in California, and she was a big coke dealer, drug dealer, right? And this is back when, you know, I was growing up. I mean, this is back in the day, back in the mid 80s and stuff, is when Jerry Falwell was doing this stuff, and he was into all this trafficking people and stuff, but he bought a lot of cocaine off of her. I mean, he would buy a lot. I don't know if it was for himself or he also distributed. I'm not sure. And they weren't sure. All they know is they would order, Jerry Falwell would order it, and her mom would bring it down to him, and they would do their deal. And I was told never to talk about it in my younger days, and you know, back then, you know, it's one of the gangs, so now I'm not gonna snitch on nobody, but you know, I don't even know if Jerry Falwell is alive anymore. But this goes a long way. I mean, all these people are connected. They're all connected. Now, we got Larry Flynt, we got Hefner. You know, these people talk to each other all the time. They also have their programs and their contracts with the elite, the politicians, for if they want children, if they want whatever, they're going to get it. Otherwise, the government, you know, could go after them and shut them down. They could find some kind of reasons, rules, and decency to shut down these people that are so in love with porn and exploiting and abusing women and children. I don't see how they ever got away with it, unless we have a corrupt government that should have shut them down. Because those people, I mean, it's like having a legal human trafficking chain going. I mean, I don't know. I just find it disgusting that they were ever allowed to survive or exist. So, with that, Larry Flynt, like I said, he's got $10 million that he's paying for anybody who can help bring Trump down. And you know, with everybody that's going to be called, it's going to be like a circus with people calling. He's going to spend more than $10 million just vetting people's information on them. But the thing is, I doubt if he's even going to touch any of that. His main thing is, he's looking for somebody that'll call him and say, hey, how about I just get rid of him permanently for that $10 million? That's what Larry Flynt is trying to do, and Trump should arrest that guy. Trump should send in the CIA and the FBI or whatever he's got. The DOJ, send them in and arrest him. They need to stick Larry Flynt in prison now, because with his money, he's trying to entice people to come up with an idea on how to get rid of our president. Now, something's got to be done. Now, a lot of people don't remember, don't realize, or never heard about, or maybe in denial, like a lot of liberals are. But Obama made his oldest daughter, Malia Obama, go work off the campaign money they borrowed from Weinstein. She had to go work for him. What do you think happened there? That's why there's some pictures up here you'll see. Here's Obama and Weinstein here, and Schumer and the rest of the corrupt. This is Weinstein, and this is his daughter, Obama's daughter, Malia, that went and worked for him. And the thing is, Obama gave her recognition when she was done paying off this debt. I mean, why is she paying off a debt to begin with? I mean, donate it or keep it. But why would you send your daughter to some perverted, disgusting, sick guy, and here all three of them are together? Why would you send your daughter in knowing what kind of POS that Weinstein is, knowing what he's going to do to your daughter to make her pay that debt? I mean, I don't know how to even wrap my mind around something that freaking disgusting. Except for Obama. See, here's Molly, and then you got what's his name in the background. This is probably where she was telling her father goodbye while she goes to work for this slime. I mean, come on, man. Even if you're liberal, just please stop lying to yourself and other people, and just say you support pedophiles. Just say you support exploiting women and children and trafficking in human suffering. Just admit this stuff, because when you support people like this is exactly what you're doing. So at least have the guts to admit that you're a sick, disgusting, vile person, just like the people you side with. I mean, how do you support Hillary? Let's go back to the Podesta emails. I'm not going to read them to you. Everybody knows what they say. But when they're talking, and Hillary's part of this, and they're talking about spirit cooking, and they're talking about eating children, sacrificing children, and the people that were closest to Hillary, that used to guard her with Bill Clinton when Bill Clinton was president, this guy has come out and even talked about Hillary being in this class of witches, this cult that she used to have to go to in California all the time, and he'd have to escort her there and take care of her and protect her and then bring her home. And he said they would do some really vile things, and he had to lie and always say that she was doing shopping or whatever to the public while she was actually in California doing her rituals. She's been a witch for a long time. I mean, a real one. And then we have people that still stick up for knowing that she was part of Pizzagate. And the thing is with Pizzagate, like Nancy and the rest, they all admit that, yeah, the emails are real. Everything on them was real. They're not denying the emails were not. I mean, the only ones denying the emails were real are the supporters. I mean, Podesta and Hillary and the rest are like, yeah, they exist. They're Podesta's emails. They're my emails. They're admitting that the emails do belong to them, and they are true. They are theirs. They're just saying that was illegal how they apprehended them. It's illegal how they got their hands on our emails, and they're making that look like a bigger crime than what the emails are telling us. And their supporters are okay with this. How is that? I mean, how evil can this world get when you're supporting people who sacrifice children, put them on a pizza and eat them? I mean, this is what they do because they feel that it gives them strength. And this is what Hillary actually has. She doesn't have all these other diseases that are being taught. She has this, it's called Kuru. And it's called it's a eating of dead people's flesh when you get this in organs and stuff like that. And I used to have a video up about it, and I still might be on my page here. Oh no, this forgot. My page has been suspended, so in 90 days it'll be back up. Anyhow, I did a video on that describes all of her illnesses, everything that she's going through. I mean, all of it. The people in Africa used to call it the laughing disease because it kind of would make you goofy and drunk. Kind of, you start laughing no reason. And Hillary's gone through many of those episodes, and they eventually die, but they basically go retarded. You basically turn your mind into like a zombie. I mean, you're there, but you're not there. I mean, you're kind of goofy and drunk for the remaining of your life, unless you have good medicine. So anyway, Larry Flynt needs to be in prison, and people need to text Trump, because I don't think he's being told everything that we're hearing. Because they said that this guy Kelly that takes care of him, supposedly, he covers up a lot of the news so that it does not ever reach Trump. So Trump doesn't get to see a lot of his messages on Twitter or anything else. But you need to do it a lot, so eventually he'll catch it. I know he's read a few of mine. So you just got to message him a lot. Let him know, man, that he needs to be careful, because media's not going to keep covering. I doubt if they may not cover it again. Well, Larry Flynt is just dead, and that's put a target on our president's head, which is very dangerous. But anyway, we had Obama selling his daughter to Weinstein to pay off their campaign debt that they borrowed money for. She got paid up. Obama gave her recognition on stage on one of his speeches, saying how very proud he is of her and the country, because they all respect what she did in helping pay off some debt. But she did not look happy. She looked a bit stunned that he would even bring it up. Okay. So, anyhow, we're going down the line on this, and I had it all done until my thing screwed up. But James Comey. I'm not sure if I told you about James Comey before, but the reason that James Comey reopened the case days before Hillary was to to be supposedly elected as president, and then this, they say, screwed it up, but she was never going to win, because her supporters don't care what she does. They stick with her no matter how vile and disgusting things that she's done. She just don't have that many voters, and never has. Not many people like her, but the people that do like her will not leave her. But the reason that Comey took and reopened the case days before the election is to protect her, not to hurt her. And this is why the Democrats did not go after her. They did not go after her they did not go after him. They did not go after James Comey, because they had to say something, but they didn't want to totally start a war with James Comey, because James Comey could have really opened a real case. So what he did is, the New York Police Department was about to open up a sting operation and go raid and arrest Hillary before the election. She came so close to being arrested before the election started. And whenever James Comey found out that they were getting ready to act and they were going to arrest a bunch of people that were listed on Anthony Weiner's laptop, that's when he reopened the case, so that he took over, making it a federal case against Hillary, which nullified the local police department case, and they couldn't do anything after that, because now it's a federal case. And he basically took it over and opened it and closed it the same day. It was never a real case. All he did was protect Hillary. So that's with that, and that's why you can check Google. A lot of the New York Police Department at that time that were on that case retired. Some quit, and some are just disgruntled, and they have no faith in the law anymore. But they have some hope now that Trump is there, that things will get better, because they're going after him. They're going after all these pedophiles, and that's good. So anyhow, we have that. Let's see. For shortwave, sorry, but I think I have to do a commercial. Let me see who it's for before. Let me see. It's already been 39 minutes, so I'm already late on that. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to skip it and get back to them another time on the commercial thing, because like I said, things didn't work right tonight with my system. Never does when I start talking about this kind of stuff. I probably shouldn't list it on here, like the civil rights, Black Lives Matter. And I'm going to tell you about civil rights, just what we were going to talk about. And it's not a lot. But I had Ronald that was going to tell his story, and he's a black guy that grew up in the days when, earlier in the days in the 60s and stuff, and he used to talk with his grandparents, and they told him how the civil rights basically totally screwed the black people. The civil rights were not good to the black people, because they used to have areas on the beach where they had their own stores, their little motels and everything. And you know, back then blacks weren't allowed to go into the white establishments. They had to stick in their own. And so other black people stayed in their own community, kind of like today when you see with Orientals, and you see with a lot of the Spanish illegals that are here that don't really speak English. They all build a community in the cities that they live in. They start building there, and they all stick together, and they keep all their money in that same community. Well, black people don't do that. Black people, once they started getting civil rights, they wanted to rub in the face of white people that, hey, now we can eat in your restaurants, we can shop at your stores, we can go to your schools, we can buy all your stuff that you guys buy. And the problem with all that bragging and boasting, it destroyed all the mom and pop stores that the black people have built, because they couldn't keep up with the competition, especially now that black people can go eat anywhere they want. Now they can go get jobs in other places. You know, now that the government was basically pulling them out of their neighborhood or luring them out with jobs, money, and merchandise. So they pull them out, and all the mom and pop black shops and stores and company owned and business owned stuff that they built, because before they can depend on the black people bringing their money back. Could you imagine if it was still segregated today? Could you imagine how much money they'd bring in to their communities with all these multi-million-dollar ball players? They would have a very, very rich community. They would have some of the most elite neighborhoods you can imagine. They'd be able to basically lead. They would not need like money from our government. They wouldn't need the mayors and the governors to do anything for them, because they would be flooded with money if they had to spend money in their own communities, because they were still segregated with the money that they have. Now, they probably wouldn't make the millions that but they might, because it's all commercialized. It's all about bringing people to buy product. But still, they would live much better. Go watch some videos of pre-civil rights days, and you're going to see that black people were much more decent. They were much more family oriented. I mean, they were much more family. They fathers, mom, children. I mean, they had real families back then. Civil rights kicked in, and they went crazy. Civil rights kicked in, and they took that. You know what it is? Too much freedom. Too much freedom, along with a lot of animosity that they wanted to show people, like, hey, I can shop in your stores and sit in your restaurants now. Bad thing is, it totally screwed up the black community. It took all the money away from them, because all the black people can make more money somewhere else. They can buy different food that they like better somewhere else. They can get their weaves and their products and everything cheaper by bigger organizations somewhere else, and it totally destroyed them. And that's what we were going to talk about. And I'm going to try to have them on tomorrow, maybe, if I'm back on time. But we were going to have him talk about it. I mean, it was really interesting to hear about the beachfront property that they owned, and they used to have the motels, and they had their own. I mean, they had their own community, and it was a decent, thriving community where everybody was basically starting to live good. And civil rights came along, and all these young bucks got out there and thinking they know what they're doing, fighting for civil rights, and basically they were led by, most likely, the corporations. And when corporations see things that they're losing money, they're going to come up with a way to fix that, and they're going to take it. They're going to make these people, it's like they did with women, with women rights. Same thing. The government was seeing all these. They're trying to come up with a way to charge more taxes to people because they needed more tax money, right? So that they can do more pocket spending or whatever. I don't know. But the only thing they could come up with is, hey, half of America stays home. Half of the Americans we have here that could be paying taxes stay home and take care of their children, or sit on their butt and watch soap operas and so on. They're like, if we want to make more money, we need more people to tax. And that's where they started funding liberal women rights and stuff like that. And they funded a group of women to start this, and they got it going. And before you know it, hey, all these women are fighting tooth and nail to work, to be treated equal like the husband. So, and then when they get it, now they don't really want it. Now they're like, this crap sucks, man. I mean, it would have been nice to then just be a mom and take care of the children and start an at-home thing. But now, when women start working, then the men feel, less pressured or less of anything. And they're like, hey, the women, they make good money. And then the women start getting cocky. And this is what causes all the divorces and stuff. You cannot have two men in the house. And when the woman starts acting like the man and wearing the pants in the house, then it's time to move on. I mean, it's tough. Or it's time for maybe the man steps down and says, hey, I'll take care of the children. I'll do your job. You go ahead and do mine if you want to do that. And, usually the man's okay working that way. But the women look at us like, are you lazy slob? They end up leaving you. Or whatever. I don't know. But I do know that everything we fall for is planned. It's a conspiracy. And a conspiracy is a few people behind closed doors conspiring and planning on how to manipulate the majority. That's all a conspiracy is, people. So when you hear the word, stop letting it dictate how you think about it. It's just a word that explains what goes on behind closed doors with our government. And that's true about women's rights, and civil rights kind of work the same way. They were seeing, hey, we got all these other people. We got thousands of them. And they're all spending their money in their own neighborhoods. And white people are kind of cutting back on having children. I mean, they're trying to keep it down. While the black community, they're popping out 15 babies a woman. So they're looking at, that's a lot of tax money we're losing out on. And that's why civil rights happen, people. And I learned this from a black guy. I didn't learn it from a white guy or anyone else. I learned it from a black guy. So I'm going to take his word. Not only that, when he explains it all, it makes perfect sense. So it wasn't all about the kindness of people's hearts to desegregate. It was more or less, people would accept it anyway. That's just it. Most people would accept it because most people don't really care. Most people just want to live and let live. And they don't see anybody as less human. I mean, most don't. Once they get to know you anyway. I mean, if they start to know you and you act like an animal, I don't care what color you are, they're not going to like you. They're going to be white trash, or you're going to be an N-word, or you're going to be something else. But the thing is, it's how you represent yourself is how people are going to look at you. So, anyhow, we had that. Let me see if I'm covering all my bases here. Hollywood. Yes, Hollywood is definitely going after Weinstein. They want to take him down because they feel he snitched. They feel he's turned on him, and he's going to go against Hillary and some other people in the industry and bring down Hollywood. Because he can't bring down Hillary without bringing down Hollywood, the people who have purchased all these children and women. I mean, it's kind of sickening and sad to see even Ben Affleck was part of this. But I think we're going to hear many big names soon that are going to come out and we're going to be disgusted with. So basically, let's see. Antifa, ISIS. Now, let's not forget, people, on November 4th, Antifa, also is known as ISIS, they're basically joined together. They are the same people. Now, they promised November 4th that they're going to start a civil war. Why is Trump not arresting these people, for one thing? Why is he not going out and just bringing them all in? They're promising a civil war on November 4th. The only reason I can think of is Trump's not being told a lot of stuff. He's very busy, and they're hiding stuff from him. They're not letting him hear everything that's going on. And the people that are hiding it from him, they want this civil war. They want it bad. They want to get this going for whatever the reason. Maybe to depopulate. Maybe it's their part of Agenda 21. I mean, instead of them killing us, they're going to let us kill each other. Works out a lot better. It's kind of like Jerry Brown and getting on national TV and claiming that California is now a, what does he call it? A sanctuary state. I mean, basically, most illegals already knew it's a sanctuary state. And the only reason you would have to get up there and say that is if you want to draw attention from Trump to come and bring more ICE agents in to basically start cracking down on all the illegals that are coming to your state. I mean, I basically believe that Jerry Brown is setting up illegals to be deported, and that's why he got on TV and said California is now a sanctuary state, because he knows that what Sessions did in San Francisco and in other cities and states that were also claiming to be sanctuary cities. Sessions went in with, in San Francisco, he went in with 10,000 ICE agents, and they arrested a ton and deported a ton of illegals. I mean, a lot more than they would have done had the mayor in San Francisco just say, hey, we'll abide by the law and let the cops do their job and start reporting and deporting. Because then you kind of can just tell your cops, you know what, let's do it, but let's not go crazy on it. Let's deport the bad ones, leave the good ones alone. But see, the thing is, when Jerry Brown did this, and that mayor of San Francisco, when they said what they did, they screwed the good illegal aliens, the ones that are there to work hard and are trying to live a decent life and therefore good purpose. Because now that Sessions just brought in 10,000 agents because San Francisco's mayor said they're not going to let the police department help out with deporting and turning in the bad guys. So when you got 10,000 ICE agents in, they're going to deport everyone they find. So that's what Jerry Brown just did. He just opened up the door and said, hey, ICE, get in here. I'm bringing you in a whole bunch of illegals. They're going to be coming here because I just opened the door for them. So now it's going to be a lot easier for you to deport them because we're a lot closer to Mexico. So let them all travel here. Let them get here any way they can. And then we can start deporting. And that's exactly what's going to happen. See, everybody thinks that the Democrats are for the illegals. No, they're not, man. They're actually the ones that have been against desegregation. I mean, they wanted to keep black people in their own areas, their own schools, and all this stuff. Black people, not black, but Democrats were the original Ku Klux Klan. They are the original white knights and everything else. I mean, I don't know how. I used to always wonder, how did this get so switched around? And you get to where you ask people, but nobody knows. It just is what it is. And Democrats they don't question it. They don't ask, what happened? Why is it like this? Is it still like this? Can I trust the people that I'm voting for and standing up for? Or what do I do? They just go along with it. They go along because their leaders are getting paid a lot of money from these racist, American-hating people that we call leaders. But see, it's like Jay-Z. It's like the music they play. I mean, they play music that helps them, that, makes people want to get high. If you listen to them, you want to get high. You want to do drugs. You want to go buy guns. You want to go kill your rivals, right? Now, eventually, they're going to switch this. It's going to start. They're going to be starting to rap about killing white people. And things are going to change. They're going to stop killing each other. So, while they're killing each other, we should just shut up and let it be. Because eventually, they're going to change the narrative on us. And when they start rapping, because look what they did with cops. They started rapping about killing cops. They start killing cops. As soon as they start rapping about killing white people, game's on. Because this music is like a curse. It's like being entranced. I mean, these people follow what this music sings to them. It's some kind of ritual witchcraft thing that, it's demonically led. It's a spirit of the Antichrist, and they follow it. They may not even know exactly why they're doing it. They just know they want to do it. It's strong in them. So eventually, people, get ready, because you're not going to see government try to stop them from doing anything. Matter of fact, government's going to tell them when to flip that switch to the other side. And when they start rapping about killing whitey and going into their neighborhoods and raping their families and stuff like that, and if you listen to these black Israelites, that's exactly what they say they're going to do. They're going to rape the children and women, and they brag about it. They say they can't wait for this day. And this is what they're going to do, and they're going to do all kinds of vile things to the white people and kill them and so on. And you just got to wait, man. All it's going to take is when they start rapping that direction. So, anyway, my hour's almost up on this, and my second hour is going to be, well, I'll let you know when I get to it, my second hour. Because there's a couple of things I was waiting for phone calls on to see if I can finish one, but I have one that's really interesting from one of the people who were shot in Las Vegas, and it is in the hospital, and they want to tell their story because they say that there's definitely shooters in the crowd, not just on the buildings, but in the crowd. And the one in the crowd that was close to him is the one that shot him, and he wants to tell it. He's actually on the fence about saying anything because people are ending up dead. So far, there's already 2 very close eyewitnesses, just like this guy wants to say. So I told him maybe he might not want to tell me, but because there's already 2 people dead from this. And then we got Campos, Jesus Campos, right? This guy's a shooter. He's no hero, and they gave him an award for help saving people. He didn't save anybody. He was in the window shooting, and geez, that's why he disappeared. That's why nobody's heard from him yet. He's not dead. He's probably being deported by self-deporting back to whatever country he's at. He's probably taking whatever money he's getting paid. I mean, the guy drove around in a nice new red Corvette, and he's a security guard. I don't think so. The guy has a car that he could not afford. Let's just say even if he worked at this job for years, he still would not make enough money that the bank would give him enough. The bank would not give him the loan to get this car. You have to pretty much go have the cash to buy it because you wouldn't make enough to afford it. And if you know how banks work, they look at your bills and everything else that you have, and can you afford to pay this back? Most likely with the Corvette, no, he wouldn't be able to get that. Anyhow, next hour's coming up, folks. Just come on back, and we'll finish round 2. So have a good night, and then going to switch and try to fix my unit here and get it going so that I can give you some live video feed, at least listen to it. But look don't just read headlines, man. Look and ask why they were saying this. Look at the stuff and ask, why would Larry Flynt want to bring Trump down? Trump's plans and his regime does not threaten anything about what Larry Flynt is doing money-wise and stuff, but he does threaten corruption, and that's why Larry Flynt wants to bring him down, because Larry Flynt's about ready to go to jail, along with Comey, Podesta, Hillary, and some other big names in Hollywood and throughout politics. Adios, people. Have a good day.